Naaman had leprosy of his heart. God was not only going to heal Naaman's skin, he was going to heal his pride. Naaman finally agreed to wash in the river, and instantly his skin became smooth like a baby. Naaman wanted to pay Elisha. God healed you. You can't pay, Elisha said. It's free. And so it was that a very sick man was healed, all because of a little servant girl who forgave him. God knew sin was like leprosy. It stopped his children's heart from working properly, and in the end, it would kill them. Years later, God was going to send another servant to forgive, as she did, to forgive all of God's children and heal the terrible sickness in their hearts. Their hearts were broken, but God can mend broken hearts.
Y'all ready for a hell of a ride? All right. To get things started, I am a sailor. This is forward, that's aft, starboard, port, overhead, that's a deck. So now you've been properly indoctrinated. Jesus said, "For where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, I am with them." The meaning of this, to me, Elvis has left the building. Jesus is in the house. So, I had this figured out. Somehow it's all gone to in a basket. It says here in Jeremiah, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope in the future." So, we're so used to a hurried world that we sometimes expect speed in our spiritual life too. However, God acts on behalf of those who wait for him. There are 3 reasons why believers are called upon to wait. First one, God may prepare us to receive his blessing. Perhaps we need new skills. Prime example. In a particular spiritual insight, before we're ready to get God's plan. For an example, David waited for years to sit on his appointed throne. When they anointed him, he was a child. And think about what he went through. Saul was just chasing him all over the place, trying to kill him. It didn't happen. And when he did have him cornered, he just cut off a corner of his cloak. And as he was leaving, he came up and told him, "I told you so. I could have done this, but..." Second, our Father is often teaching us to have confidence in him. How would we learn faith if we immediately fulfilled our every request? In our own life, the Lord has often said 2 words, "Trust me," and no, he's not a lawyer. And he has never been able to meet our needs, and he has never been late to meet our needs. No matter how we justly rushing ahead of God, doing so amounts to saying, "I don't trust you." The Lord will sometimes withhold a blessing to protect us. I don't need power seats in my truck. We may never find out why, but be assured that God carefully decides whether to place the object of our desire in our hands. Waiting isn't easy. Not rushing ahead of the Lord can short-circuit his plan. When that happens, believers are left unsatisfied, and they often live with the consequences. Be patient while the Lord works out your details, and His best is on the way. So, the best idea I've come up with for all this is the Jews when they left Israel, or when they left Egypt. God got them out of Egypt, and the way He got them out was phenomenal. At the end of the ordeal, the Egyptian people were wanting them to leave, and they left. And when they did leave, Pharaoh just changed his mind. So here he comes, Pharaoh comes with all his army and his chariots and everything. The Jews their back is up against the wall, the Red Sea, and they don't know what to do. So God parts the sea. They go across. Here comes Pharaoh. It's not going to work. You don't float. So then, while they're at Mount Sinai, the mount there, and Moses goes up to get the 10 Commandments, they've been shown the pillar of smoke, the pillar of flame. They're getting their food, and that manna. There you go. Southern people don't speak so well. Anyhow, that comes out of the sky. They get water out of a rock. I mean, come on. How much more is God got to show you that He's real? You're not a slave. You just walked through an ocean, a sea. You got water out of a rock. You got food coming out of the air. And you're sitting here, and Moses goes up the mountain to get things straight. And he's going to come back with something. You know that. I mean, God, He told you. He's going to take you to the promised land. And what do? You start building a calf. I mean, I can't. I couldn't understand that. I mean, what a bunch of chuckleheads. So, God got mad at him, which I think He was justified. And He told him, so this generation is going to stay here in the desert. The next generation I will take to the promised land, to the land of milk and honey. And that's what He did. So, the 10 Commandments. God gave him the 10 Commandments. Our country is founded on a Christian belief. And when you go to the state capitol, there is a bust of Moses carved in stone. When you go to the Supreme Court, there's figures of the 10 Commandments in the Supreme Court. And I'm wondering, are we the same as the Jews? Are we a bunch of chuckleheads? So, every November that we can, everyone needs to vote to put the right person there. I'm not being political. You decide who you want, but do it. Because what we got ain't working. This is why I don't speak. All right. So, Jesus said to Thomas, doubting Thomas, after he was crucified, he said, because you hast seen me, thou hast believed. Blessed are they, the doubting Thomas has believed, but blessed are they that have not seen, and yet have believed. I am the vine, you are the branches. And the one who remains in me, and I in him, bears much fruit. For apart from me, you can do nothing. So, to me, Christ knew that all of us were coming. We ain't seen him. I ain't even been to Israel. Although I asked the captain to stop the boat there a couple times, but it didn't work. But he knew that we were coming. So, maybe I'd change up a little bit here. Lowell knows about these. Titus does too. Sea stories. I got a bunch of them. 90% of them I can't repeat in here because the roof will fall in. However, it was early March, I don't know, 88. Captain come down, got the crew together, and says, boys, we're getting underway on Monday, and we don't know when we're coming home. And I'm thinking, oh, Lord, here we go again. I'd already been on 3 different boats, done this I don't know how many times, been in the Pacific, been over here, been over there. We chased Ivan from one side of the world to the other. So here we go again. So on Monday, we're getting underway. So that meant the weekend was blown. We're loading groceries at one end of the boat. I'm at the other end of the boat loading torpedoes, and these ain't the fake ones. And we're getting ready to get underway. Monday morning, Friday, I called Joni at home, said, pack my bags for me. So she's busy washing all the clothes, making sure I got extra socks and everything else that she always did. Monday, she takes me down to the boat, down to the pier, drops me off. I give her a hug, kiss, and I get on the boat. We untie. Out in the Bay Capes off of Norfolk we go. We get out to the dive point, dive the boat. And the old man, first thing he does, he kicks it in the tail. We'll take that reactor back there and give it a workout. So we're screaming, on submarine terms, screaming across the Atlantic. And we're headed north. Well, this is March, So we go over there and we're looking around and we're doing whatever. The supply officer, he forgot to load the yeast to make bread. Oh boy, this is going to be a miserable run. So the captain, he gets a word that we need to have a special key codes for all our radio traffic. It's called crypto. And we had to pull into Scotland to pick up the codes. So this lets the supply officer off the hook. So we radio in and say, give us extra yeast because the captain hates biscuits. I like biscuits. Captain didn't. So anyway, we pull in, we wait for it to get dark so we can surface the boat, go into Scotland, Faslane, Scotland. We had to have it dark so that the satellites, and Russians got satellites too, can't know that what we're doing. They don't know where we're at. So we go in, we get the yeast, he picks up the key cards. Captain lets us off the boat till midnight. Wrong move, wrong thing. The boat tied up ahead of us was the HMS Churchill. So the Churchill's up there. We know the chiefs on the Churchill. So we goes up and see them guys. Well, on a British boat, they're allowed to drink on board. Oh yeah, bad news in Little Rock. So we went up there and seen our buddies, had a couple snorts, pints, or whatever they call it, and warm beer, I'm able to handle it, but not very long. But anyway, we get back to the boat, we get underway, we get back out, we dive the boat before dawn, so the satellites can't find us, and we take off, and we're headed north again from Scotland. Well, the only thing north of Scotland is Norway, and the only thing north of Norway is the Arctic Circle. So I tell the boys in the torpedo room, y'all keep an eye on the bilge, because the bilge is going to freeze. So they're doing that, and they're down there chipping ice, because it's cold. And we're doing all right. So we're running around up there, and the next thing we know, the captain gets a message. And it wasn't a nice message. It's from the admiral at Sublant back in Norfolk. Well, the admiral in Sublant, he's in charge of all the submarines in the whole Atlantic Ocean, which is a bunch. So he gets the message, and he comes out of his stateroom, and he wound up tight. I'm going, oh man, that captain's he's mad. And he pulls out the quartermaster out there and gets the chart out, and they're looking at it. So what the chart says, the ice shelf is supposed to be here for the Arctic. There's the Arctic Circle. We're north of the Arctic Circle. We're going up here, and we're here. Yeah, we're here, Captain. Well, why is the ice shelf here? And then he turns around and says, well, the admiral back in Norfolk says the ice shelf is down here, and we are under the ice. Ooh, not good. We are not cleared to surface under the ice if we had to. So the captain looks at the corner of the chart there, and it says, this chart is authorized for June and July. This is March. So they pull out the March chart, and oh yeah. Captain says, steer course 180. We're going south. So that's what we did. But shortly after that, we got down, and I'm here to tell you, the most evil piece of water that God has ever created is the North Atlantic. We were at 200 feet, taking a 10-degree roll to starboard, remember, starboard? 10-degree roll to port. That's 20. At 200 feet underwater. I'm here to tell you, waves have got roots. So, shortly after that, here comes Easter. So a bunch of us boys got together and said, we're going to have Easter morning, daylight service. So we go to the quartermaster and ask him to calculate for us when is sunrise and where we were. And he said, well, the sun kind of doesn't come up here. What? Yeah, that may be a problem. So we decided on the 6 o'clock a.m., when the morning watch went on, we're going to have morning services. So we sat on the mess decks with Welch's grape juice and saltine crackers. And we did the best. And we did the best we could. All right, that's enough. Okay. Now, I would like to look back over the last year that we've had here. It hasn't been a year since Dave and Mary left. Sometimes I wonder if it has been. But you people, as a crew, have pulled it together. Lori was the clearinghouse, kept us all informed, either by YouTube or Facebook or emails or whatever, I don't know. But anyway, she dug in, geared down, and she did it. Then here comes Vacation Bible School. We got Vacation Bible School. We couldn't hold services here. We had it over YouTube, but we all were together. The virus in here has run amok. Oscoda County, I watched it go from 5 to 35. I was going, holy smokes. But then I look at the other counties, and then I count my blessings. But we, as a crew, y'all pulled it together. The only thing we haven't got, and I truly miss, is our dinners. Between the macaroni and cheese, the baked beans. Oh, I don't eat till Monday morning. Oh, the deviled eggs. Don't forget the deviled eggs. So, God is in house, and you all are proof. We don't have no pillar of flame. And Lord knows my food ain't coming out of heaven. I got to go see Dan. So, that's pretty much it. I had a prayer here. It's the Apostles' Creed. I don't know if you all know it. I'll give it a try. I believe in God the Father Almighty, maker of heaven and earth, and in Jesus Christ, his only Son, our Lord, who was conceived by the Holy Ghost, born of the Virgin Mary, suffered and died under Pontius Pilate, was crucified, dead, and buried. He descended into hell. The third day he rose again from the dead. He ascended into heaven and sitteth on the right hand of the God the Father Almighty. From hence he will come to judge the quick and the dead. I believe in the Holy Ghost, the Holy Christian Church, the communion of saints, the forgiveness of sins, the resurrection of the body, and the life everlasting. Now, in Revelations, I didn't put it on my paper. It says there, God, Jesus, said that he holds the keys to death in Hades. I truly believe that. All of us have a purpose. I don't care how old you are. You can be 6 years old. You can be 85, 88, 90, 100. You have a purpose. And you are not leaving. You're not checking out planet Earth until your purpose is done. This is God's will. So, until we meet again, we're here. But when we do meet again, we will be in that house not made with human hands. And lo, you better not be looking at the joints. I told him one time when he hired me, I'm a sailor, not a carpenter. He tried. Lord knows he tried. And Titus, he just kept shaking his head. Is he going to quit this week? Anyway, folks, thank you for putting up with my blubbering, sea stories, whatever. If you want to hear more, you come to my house, sit down and have a cup of coffee or a cold beer. And I got a bunch. Thank you.
I don't know about you, but I know a little more about Mike now. And thanks, Mike, for ministering to us in that way. I hear your heart, and I really appreciate that. And I appreciated the comments that he made about Lori. And she's up next. Not that she's not coming up to the mic, but she is up next. Many of you know, and not all of you, that we're planning a special thank you event for Lori, because we wanted to take time to say, thank you, Lori. You have been appreciated for the last 17 years. You have been appreciated and at times taken for granted. But you have been the glue that held the pieces together at many times. And so we wanted you to hear some words of appreciation, so we hastened to put some things together. And some may not have been heard about this little event, and we take responsibility for that and apologize for that, but you can still say thank you in any way you feel as she is here among us. She's not escaping us altogether. The elders initiated this, and several of us worked to make it happen. So here it comes, and we trust that you will relax, Lori, and enjoy the next 25 minutes, if you can. Why don't you stand up and turn around and take a bow? I mean, why don't you do that? You like to have enjoyment, so we're having enjoyment. Thank you very much. Now, I'd like for all those that are going to participate to come up on the front benches. Those have parts come up, and we can. There's a couple mics down here, a tall one and a shorter one, and you can feel free to use those mics as you wish, and we'll go from there. You can social distance as much as you can. Appreciate that. The first one is, come up, Lowell. We're going back a little bit and getting some words from former pastors, Eldon Kreider, as well as Phil Bontrager as our interim pastor. So Lowell, you can go, and then Roseanne and Beth and Troy can follow him right up.
Okay. And so I have a couple of quick notes here from both Pastor Eldon and Pastor Phil. And so we'll read these. Lori, I want to thank you for all those years you worked with me at the church, especially all those times you went over and above. Many times you helped me make my load lighter, and many times you touched people's lives in special ways. May God continue to bless you and work through you. And that's from Pastor Eldon. And then we have another one from Phil here. It says, to Lori Diller and the Fairview Mennonite Church, I am happy to hear that Lori is concentrating her skills, aptitudes, and energy to the work of the Executive Director for Love, Inc. Although it may be to Fairview FMC's loss, I believe that she will more fully utilize all those gifts that God has given her. My first memory of Lori, then church secretary, is from an email she sent to me when I was preparing to come to Fairview Mennonite Church as a transitional pastor back in 2012. One of her questions went something like this: how do you want the people to address you? As pastor, reverend, Pastor Bontrigger? So I responded, after giving it much long and serious consideration to this question, I prefer to be called Pope Phil the First.